With Penacony's storyline being wrapped up nicely, we see many plot lines come to fruition. The Astral Express unveil the Watchmaker's legacy and save the dreamscape from Enna's dream. The feds get their share of Penacony's profits. Gallagher fulfills Mikhail's wish. Robin helps give her brother a new lease on life. Firefly obtains unforgettable gains. Acheron fulfills Tiernan's last wish. Sparkle had her fun and nearly made me die of laughter. The Pepeshi suicide rate dipped by 0.2%. An all-time high, as some might even say. Actually, an all-time low might actually be better. Actually, scratch that. Black Swan meets the Black Swan meets the Express and is an all-around creep. I mean, obtains more memories, and Boot Hill gains some new friends and a possible lead on that scum-sucking, no-good cock-gobbling Oswaldo Schneider. But despite that, we still have some unsolved mysteries. Now, this video is going to go over the Everflame Mansion and the mysteries that surround it, because even though what happened to them seems to be a pretty open and shut case, after finishing the Penacony storyline and looking back on it, you can start to notice some uncertainties, like who betrayed Firefly within the dreamscape.
Why did you... This isn't what we agreed on!
Based on these fragmented pieces of information, it seems Firefly's companion betrayed her halfway and trapped her alone in this room, disappearing without a trace. But why?
How did Boot Hill find out about Acheron's existence?
Tell me, what's Acheron's deal?
That lady's passed. Nobody knows. But if all you want is a simple answer, sure, you best get a chair and take a seat. That woman, named Acheron, is an emanator who should not exist.
What was the memory that Constance blocked Black Swan from viewing?
In fact, I think I'd better go all out. How is that possible? This music box fell into Acheron's hands, and she brought it to Penacony. That's a fact, and that's how it should have gone. But along the way... it's like it's been erased. Who's done this?
Why did they mute my boy Argenti's lines twice in a row?
I will cut you down, break you apart, splay the gore of your profane form across the stars. I will grind you down until the very sparks cry for mercy. My hands shall relish ending you here and now.
What happened to the Everflame Mansion, and most importantly, and by that I mean everyone to my delusional self, is Ifrit actually dead? These are the points that I'm going to be tackling, and explaining how these can tie back to the Everflame Mansion. Now, before I go, I'm going to put a timestamp on each section of the video, as I have yet to figure out how the chaptering system on YouTube works. Now, if I do figure it out, and you can see it on the video,
きましょう。
To begin, we have to go over the Everflame Mansion's timeline, a refresher of sorts, before diving into the juicy bits. You're free to skip ahead if you're already familiar with the deets, so, you know. See you later, alligator. What the fuck is wrong with me, man? Prior to their journey towards Penacony, the Everflame Mansion were in conflict with the Japala Brotherhood, a rival faction within the Annihilation Gang, which later fell thanks to the Cellron Hunters being a tad bit silly and, causing rebellion, it happens. Thanks to the ensuing chaos, the Everflame Mansion grew in strength and soon received an invitation to attend the Charmony Festival in Penacony. Within that time span, Ifrit gathers, and I quote, a group of cosmic evil.
BBL from Columbia, so my ass and titties big. I'm the baddest bitch in the whole fucking nation.
I'm gooning and I'm edging at my own pace. The feminine urge to tear into his flesh. Eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it. Rip his lips up, get a place him. I love him so much. I riz, what I riz, what I riz. I'm skibbity, I'm skibbity, I'm skibbity.
That's exactly what Daddy is. Alright.
My, what a doting father. He then gives each one of the kids their task as their rite of passage for when they arrive at Penacony. Akash the tuner is tasked with playing On the Floor by Ice JJ Fish to silence the harmony. Dubra is tasked with tapping into her inner British self and shanking some masterfuls to make the elation. Katerina is tasked with getting her arts and crafts on by melting the IBC's property and making a statue of the Nook. Constance, on the other hand, is tasked with wiping out the entirety of the Golden Hour off the fucking map. And in the process, taking all that's precious for the remembrance, leaving nothing but their tomb. Yeah. All those kids were given, menial tasks, and Constance was tasked with the equivalent of being a fucking ICBM to fucking the Dreamscape. During that journey, Ifrit and his kids make a pit stop at Herta space station to cause a little havoc by attempting to eject a few disgruntled scientists into the loving embrace of the vacuum of space by using the embers of the Phase Flame, a creation made by Genie Society member and Universal Speedrun record holder for gaining an Eon's Gaze, number 29 Circle, making everyone think that the higher-ups are the culprits, which would lead to a revolt and the destruction of the space station, and also to get the kids some snacks for the trip. Unfortunately, Dr. Ratio stepped in and prevented Ifrit's plans, thanks to him having a spark of the Phase Flame and intercepting the abducted scientists, and in the process, preventing Ifrit from surpassing Fantilia and Hong Shushan on the leaderboards for most deadly insurrections, leaving him just above George Stanton. And he wasn't able to get Katerina her little bites, which later led to the swarm genocide on the planet Costa. The blood still flows. As the Everflame Mansion is just about to arrive at Penacony, Acheron pulls up, beats Ifrit's kids, and demands he hand over his invitation in return for sparing his life. He says, fuck that, says some cool lines, and as much as I like to believe he put up a worthy fight, he probably got one shot, man. I mean, look at this. Look at this, bro. Acheron said,
A single slash of a blade isn't really accurate. It was actually 2 blades, just that the second one was faster.
I see free here, man. Damn. I get trying to show the man respect, but Jesus. Look at Acheron, she's still pristine and beautiful. And Ifrit is fucking trisected. There's a term called bisected. This man is After this, we are informed by Aventurine that the Everflame Mansion disbanded, with their members going their separate ways, and that they will not attend the festivities, with Black Swan corroborating his claims, and more than likely being his source. And as of version 2.3, this has appeared to remain true, with the only new piece of information being the interaction between Constance and Black Swan, with Constance herself affirming that she won't attend the Banquet Star. Now, with the details out of the way, let's get into the theory. Yes, call it cope or delusional, considering everyone and their mom says he died, and I just analyzed how Acheron minced the guy. But, hear me out. There is a non-zero chance that Ifrit could still be alive, despite all of that, and I am going to show you all how.
I got a Glock in my Rari. 17 sauce, I'm 98. I will never still be my she walks fast, I praise, rewind and see there's one more.
To begin, we will go over the case, the victim, murderer, time of death, cause of death, place, witness. Yes, I'm going over this like it's a murder case, okay? Indulge me, okay? Just roll with me here, okay? Just roll with me, okay? Please just listen to me. I can convince you. He's not dead. I'm not crazy. They call me crazy. Victim is Duke Inferno, aka Ifrit. He is a fire demon, a race of plasmic life forms born from the embers of Nanook that he inflicted upon a dying star, and they regard him as their savior. Ifrit is special among the fire demons due to his connection to the phase flame. More on that later. The murderer is Acheron, an emanator of nihility. She killed Ifrit due to him not acquiescing to her demands of handing over the invitation, and also out of respect for the past rider, because
誇れ。お前は強い。なんだこれは。
cause of death is, well, the time of death can be pinpointed to a few days before the Charmony Festival, as shown in the text before Acheron and Ifrit's conversation. Now, I would have pointed out the Black Swan trailer since it might be showing the exact point in which Ifrit dies, but I can't really pinpoint when the trailer happens within the timeline, so I can't really use it to corroborate or disprove my claims. The scene of the crime is the Everflame Mansion, which was within the Asdana system, as Ifrit comments on the planet festivities being in the distance.
Can you see the planet of festivities in the distance? I plan to bring purgatory with me there.
Witnesses include only Acheron, as Ifrit's kids weren't really a part of that final conversation, and were only mentioned in a manner which leads one to believe that they weren't physically present in the room, or she knocked them out. There's also Black Swan, who confirmed his death from his cart's destruction. Note, I don't count Aventurine because although he says he knows he dies due to IPC insider information, I'm pretty sure Black Swan or Dr. Reishu told him they were working together during the questline and only confirmed it at the end of the first act, because earlier when talking to Dr. Reishu, he says,
Speaking of which, I ran into a woman just now.
Our man here always manages to wriggle out from the jaws of catastrophe.
Who introduced herself as a Galaxy Ranger.
Trust is the only means available through which to know ourselves.
The whole conversation felt off. Help me look into her. Huh? They were eliminated on their way. The assailant demonstrated each going their separate ways. Thereafter, a mysterious Galaxy Ranger arrived on Penacony, checking into the hotel with only a music box. Do you still need me to continue the story, my friend? Let's be honest. That woman named Acheron isn't as simple as you thought. Did she say she's a Galaxy Ranger? She's actually an emanator who brings death and finality.
Now with these details out of the way, let me explain how he didn't die.
Mend your pace, sway to the beat. Hands up, embrace who you wanna be. We're reaching heights unseen. Whoa, whoa.
See, he died within the Asdana star system, a star system that's brimming with Memoria. the same Memoria which makes up the dreamscape, and he died via Acheron's blade prior to Enna's dream being stopped. A dream which prevents people from dying, even from Acheron's slashes, and which affected everyone who entered the Astana system. Even Acheron herself admits to being affected by the dream, despite being mostly immune due to the nihility.
Unfortunately, it didn't stop there. From the early days of our journey into Astana, we were already affected by the Stellaron. That strange dreamscape where we met. Maybe it was a sign that your thoughts were beginning to drift away. I don't think the goal of the Order was to put everyone into a deep sleep. Quite the contrary. They used the Stellaron to catalyze the leakage of Astana's Memoria into the material world, allowing the dreamscape to blend with reality. And that included a lot of Memoria from the Beyond the Sky Choir. As time came and went, the dreams eventually became indistinguishable from reality, and reality became an illusion. Fortunately, while the path of the Order governs all things, it can't affect the nihility. I came to realize this when the Dream Master tried to expel me at any cost.
With these factors in play, I can't accept Duke Inferno being dead. I believe he suffered a fate similar to that of Aventurine when he forced Acheron to kill him. Only difference being that Ifrit was killed within this semi-reality and not within the Penacony's dreamscape, which may lead to his consciousness being thrown deep within the Sea of Memoria, due to him dying just outside of Penacony, but still well within the Astana star system for his consciousness to be swept up by the Memoria. Now, I know what you're thinking. This theory has way too many holes for it to be viable. Enna's dream only works within Penacony's dreamscape, so the death ban doesn't apply to him. Acheron admits to him dying. Even if he is alive in the Sea of Memoria, his body is gone. Ifrit is part of the Annihilation Gang. If anything, the Order would purge him and not grant him safety through death. Ifrit himself said he was getting old. Thematically, it makes sense for him to die so the kids will continue on. Instead, the gang split up after they encountered Acheron. Clearly they think he's dead. He has a relic set. Only dead people have relics. Black Swan's card of Ifrit quite literally burned away. And much, much more. Well, allow me to refute these claims.
The blocks up here to get myself a better vantage point so I can knock this guy off. There we go. Now I gotta make a quick speed bridge down here. Basically, the point of this mode is to destroy the other guy's bed, which is their respawn point. Gotta make sure I keep my head covered so I don't get knocked off. And as soon as I get an opening, I get to speak into the blue territory. Are you following all this, Mob? This requires some serious hand-eye coordination, and I don't mean to brag, but your master's pretty baller at this game, you know?
Now, concerning the Order's death ban not extending towards the Everflame Mansion, I would like to point out that the Order's influence scales based on power borrowed from the Stellaron to amplify itself even further, allowing it to let dreams bleed into reality without the Express, Acheron, or Black Swan from noticing, as shown with Misha and Acheron's comment when realizing the truth. This in itself confirms that the Everflame Mansion was well within the Order's sphere of influence. Now, I don't believe that he was transported into Penacony's dreamscape from the mansion, but could survive within the Memoria thanks to it. Also, side tangent, but if they were to arrive in Penacony, how the fuck would Ifrit enter the dreamscape considering, you have to lay down within a pool? Like, would that shit not kill him? Like, it's like sleeping in sulfuric acid and shit's gotta hurt me. Shit, just think about it. Ugh. Has anybody actually slept in like a bath of sulfuric acid?
Mira, Freeman, solamente se me ocurre una idea para librarnos de este monstruo. Tenés que venir a apretar este botón y... ¡Ay! ¡Ay, la puta madre! ¡Ay, no! ¡Salí de acá!
Now, Acheron confirming his death seems pretty straightforward, as she meets those who die on the horizon of existence. Plus, she killed him with her unsheathed blade. Well, there's no confirmation that the horizon of existence is where she meets those she kills, but rather...
Welcome to the horizon of existence. This place is one of the thousands of manifestations belonging to the sleeping and shapeless. And it's also an exit out of the nihility for the awake ones. Let's bid our final farewells here.
And yes, Avenging was taken there, but it was mostly because Acheron needed questions answered. And plus, he'd been going through some shit prior to him dying. Bro needed a therapist, bro. Like, eventually needed a hug, because he was going through some shit in those last fucking hours, bro. While Ifrit, on the other hand, he was gassed up. He was like, hey, yo, bring that shit over, G. I'ma beat that shit up. He did not beat that shit up. He did not beat that shit up. And I would also like to point out that Acheron did not know of the death ban when she killed Ifrit, as she mourned Firefly's supposed death via drive-by. The only possible argument I could come up with in regards to that is that Ifrit is a plasma-based life form that would more than likely self-destruct and get sent to the edge of creation, due to the fact that their plasma-based life form thingamajig is also like their soul in a way, so by killing that, you kill them, but you can't really kill a plasma-based life form. But then if that were to be the case, it would invalidate my theory, but that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong, you know that? You are wrong in that line of thinking. You see, Acheron said,
Tragic fate. That Duke turned his dying body to flames and sacrificed his life as a martyr. He was a determined and heroic pathstrider. Not even a villain should be disparaged like this.
She probably didn't see Ifrit there and thought, oh, he must have self-imploded and fucking detonated his soul, because he's a plasma-based life form, but that's really wrong. He's in the fucking, he's in the sea of memorial.
I'm trying to see if she got 10 toes. Tell her run that bag like a Flintstone. This trouble make him dance, nigga get low. Finna let it splash if it's smoke, get a headstone. I'm trying to see if she got 10 toes. Tell her run that bag like a Flintstone. This trouble make him dance, nigga get low. Finna let it splash if it's smoke, get a headstone.
As for the Order purging him due to his destructive nature, I doubt it, considering he was invited. And if that reason doesn't work for you because it was Gallagher and whatnot, then let me remind you that Penacony houses the following people. The Zozek II, who's guilty of the following fucking crimes. We also have Chadwick, who's guilty of the following crimes. Now, I'm pretty sure their KD ratio can easily match that of Ifrit, so if the family's complicit with them, they will try to be with the Everflame Mansion. Now, granted, the aforementioned individuals weren't trying to destroy Penacony, in contrast to Ifrit, who is trying to destroy Penacony. Counterpoint. It's the family. As the Dream Master said,
many guests who weren't supposed to be invited have gathered at this banquet. Even if the harmony is all-embracing, I have no choice but to show some of them the door. For the sake of Penacony and the peace. The planet of festivities has no place for you, a puppet of now. Leave and never return. The radiance of the planet of festivities is overwhelmingly bright, luring in tricksters, wrongdoers, and criminals. But even the harmony itself will never welcome the
so unless you're one of them nihility looking, okay, I'm gonna chill. I'm going to chill. So unless you're nihility, they'll give you a shot. As for his death being thematically fitting, I don't deny that it is fitting. You know, that his kids will follow on in his stead with the chance that one of them will attain the one thing he can never obtain all his life, Lennox gaze. And through them, we can learn more about the late Ifrit and the effect he had on their lives. But fuck that, man. Ifrit promised to run the ones back with me and hurt a space station. And I really want to fight him. I mean, look at the guy, man. He's fucking clean as shit. Bro has the cleanest fit, bro. Like, bro got the tux, bro got the fucking amulet right there. He got the chains, he got the gold, he got the glitz. Like, nah, man. He's too clean to not fight. And that man had that fucking coat. He was matching fucking Kafka in terms of coat energy. Because, bro, he was matching that energy. And then this shit happened. Like, if he comes back, he's got to run it back against Acheron. Because you ruined that man's coat. Do you know how much that shit costs? He probably stole that shit from somebody, but still, you know how much that shit costs? As for the children splitting up, although it may appear to be true, we can't confirm their exact reason for doing so. For example, what if they split up to look for something? Or someone? I mean, the only information we have on their status is that they've disbanded. No reason is given, no nothing, just gone. Like the obvious reason that, you know, Pappy's dead, time to strike out on my own. But who's to say that at least one of those children, one of the four, tried to pursue Acheron? I mean, would you put it past Katarina? I mean, look how she was acting in the trailer, so unless she's all talk, she would have definitely tried to run it back. At the very least, tried. And we know they at least cared him to a degree considering they decided to fight Acheron. Of course, they could have, you know, all tried to enter the dreamscape outside of Penacony, and in trying to do so, they kind of got, you know, swept up by the Memoria, and now they're But, you know, it's the Annihilation Gang. Being a living fuck-up is kind of a prerequisite to join.
This is how my mama told me, sit out to the come up. Roll up with them big peg straps, I'm causing havoc. If you wanna feed, you can have it. You lost in the fake, you gon' see your fucking address.
As for the relic argument, although the name might lead one to believe that its owners have passed away, after reading all of the relic sets, out of the 20 relics currently available in-game, 6 are of people who are alive. Yes, I'm counting Duke Inferno, bite me. While 5 have a status that's unknown, and the rest, they're dead as shit. I mean, man, the Sizzling Thunder one? Bitch, that was suicide. But yeah, the argument lacks weight. As for his card being burned away in the Black Swan trailer, I'd like to note an interesting detail. That being the cards shown in her hand, that being Robin, Ifrit, Firefly, Aventurine, Acheron, and Sparkle. All characters who in some way experienced death. I mean, Robin died, Firefly died, 3 times too. Aventurine died. Acheron, well, she's not dead, but she is dying due to her being a self-annihilator. And as for Sparkle, fuck, this is tough. How about this? Yeah, that should work, right? No? Okay, fine. How about this argument? Fine, I'll be serious then. Although it's a bit obscure, there is hidden dialogue that you can have with a quest NPC during the Tezozic the second quest line, in which you talk to a masked fool outside a bar, who has this to say about how Sparkle got in. Okay, but seriously, Sparkle is an interesting character because she creates and kills off characters that she plays, and as stated in her character story 4, which can be interpreted as each character that she plays, that when they die, it's also the equivalent of her dying in a sense. And if that argument doesn't satisfy you, then I'm going to pull out my last resort. Now, although unsubstantiated and unfounded, let's be honest. Would you put it past Sparkle to genuinely kill herself, if only temporarily, just for the shits and giggles? It's very strange that a lot of these people are going to die, are dying, or have died multiple times, that they just do it for the lulz. And for Ifrit to be the only character in that deck of cards who doesn't die, only until Acheron appears, is strange. No matter how you spin it, it's strange, don't you think? That's why I believe that when it lit a flame, it's because his death happened. Not his true death, but simply a form of death, because death takes many forms. Now I know what you're thinking, but what about the last line where Ifrit was absorbed into the boundless ocean? Well, let's extrapolate that.
That menacing infernal fire absorbed by the vast, profound sea. And that sea surprisingly dwells on the planet of festivities.
While initially it could mean Acheron, as she is a self-annihilator and they are extensions of IX. IX is frequently referred to as an ocean, with Freebass herself using diving gear to plummet the depths of IX. But, she also used the word dwell. Now let's bring up the thesaurus. And what does it say? Verb, as in live in. Well, that doesn't fit Acheron. She doesn't live in Penacony. I mean, where's her papers? Last I remember, the Dream Master was trying to deport her ass back to fucking Torio, wherever the fuck she was from. So if not her, then who? Well, the Harmony or the Order? Both dwell within Penacony, and both have a tendency to absorb others into themselves. And as for the boundless ocean metaphor, the dreamscape has countless ocean iconography. I mean, when you go to sleep, you're literally going underwater.
I'm under the water.
You're sleeping in a fucking bathtub, my guy. The comment of the boundless ocean can easily be substituted with the dreamscape. And I find it strange that the Ifrit card was burned by a purple flame. Not a black one, or white, or red. Flames which represent Acheron, you know, because she got that black and white red energy on her, you know? But purple. Do you know what faction is shown with the color purple?
I'm kinda cool. 14, the bitch get loose. She tryna win. I beat her by.
I'm 13.
Do you have time to talk about our...
So, it's either them, or it's Black Swan, because, you know, she has purple, you know, she has a purple color scheme, and those are her cards, and that, you know. But, there's also Dubra. I mean, compare the colorations. It's awfully strange how similar those flame colors are. I mean, if you were to... Let me just screenshot this and go into fucking Ibis Paint real quickly. Let me see if the colors... Ooh, oh my. Might be a bit of distinction due to the coloration, but... Due to the lighting, I mean, but yeah. It's too coincidental to pass up. I mean... Food for thought, at least. At the very least, it's food for thought.
Allow me to divine, using your memories as a medium.
I'm at the airport. I'm so excited. First trip to LA. Oh, see, people here are so nice.
Now, after trying so hard to disprove these erroneous claims of Ifrit's death, it's time to show evidence which can point him to being alive, starting with the phase flame. Now, remember when I said that Ifrit had a relation to the phase flame? Well, he is a scion of said phase flame, i.e., he is born from it. To better understand what this means, I'll quickly explain. You see, the phase flame was made by Genius Society member number 29, Sir Call, as I previously stated. A genius spider who, although lived for 29 days, accomplished much. One of said accomplishments being a technique known as phase change, which eventually led to the creation of the phase flame, the properties of which are described as a flame which changes phases. Pretty on the fucking nose there. The only known phase that we know of being the Sir Call phase, which we don't even know what that does or how many phases there actually are in the fucking phase flame. The only thing we do know about the flame is Ifrit's utilization of it in teleportation during the Heart of Space Stage Trailblaze Continuance quest. We can refuse Screwlum's assertion of its teleportation being limited to only the space station, as Dr. Ratio utilized a spark of the phase flame to both prevent people being chucked to their deaths and to leave the space station. So now that you know, let me explain why it's relevant to Ifrit's survival. Now, I'm not saying he teleported away, because if he did, well, he was too fucking late, man. I mean, look, he's too late, bro. You were too late, man. You were too late. Plus, he sounded pretty dead set on running the ones with Acheron. You see, I think he turned into another phase. Now, this is more so conjecture and observation, but the image of the phase flame is similar to Ifrit's state after fighting Acheron, as funny as that may sound. But it clicked for me. Put on your tinfoil hats and indulge me in a little reaching. What if Acheron caused Ifrit to phase change into the dreamscape, or somewhere else entirely, due to her slicing him? Yes, it's crazy, but the possibility is there. Of course, he's still torn apart, but he's a plasmic life form, so either he explodes or reforms himself. Is it unrealistic? Yes, but a man can't believe, can he? I can believe, man, can't I?
Get out! Get out! He's trying to get in my ass!
You see, I find it odd that Black Swan spent the entire first half of the Penacony storyline sleuthing for how the Everflame Mansion met their fate by Acheron's hands. Or feet, who knows? Yet after she talks to Constance, she stops investigating their fates completely. Yes, her main goal was figuring out Acheron, but she also had an interest in the gang, as they were the ones who were supposed to attend and not Acheron. And as a memo keeper, leaving a mystery unsolved doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't make sense in my opinion. And that whole conversation between her and Constance felt off. I mean, let's go over it one more time.
Who are you?
It's... No. Is this not a memory?
Oh, a memo keeper. Do you serve the Garden of Recollection? Or the Cremators? My name is Constance. A pleasure to meet you. We were supposed to meet in Penacony and spend an unforgettable time together. But that seems unrealistic. Dahlia's not welcome on the banquet star, and I don't need a coming-of-age ceremony. And you? I know what you're looking for. Want her secret? I can give it to you, and then you can enjoy the banquet for me. I wish you unforgettable memories.
Oh. A phone. Wanna listen in?
Don't you think it's strange how that went? I mean, Black Swan was going through the invitation's memory, and a whole section of it was erased. And then this voice pops in, introduces herself, laughs like a crazy ex about to give you an out-of-body experience that'll have you questioning whether to go back with her, despite knowing full well that's a bad decision. But you know what they say about crazy people, and she's about to remind you how true it is. And then directs a phone call to Boot Hill. It's fucking weird. It's like she wanted to redirect her attention from what happened at the mansion? Because if not, why delete memories from the invitation? We know Constance was tasked with going against remembrance, and the way she repeats the word unforgettable twice in that conversation, is there a hidden meaning? And there's still so much left to explain. I mean, how did she figure out Acheron's an emanator of nihility? How did Boot Hill figure it out? How did Ifrit? How the fuck did Boot Hill figure out that Acheron was posing as a Galaxy Ranger when the whole faction is as sociable as me? And that's nothing! And his character story makes no mention of this whatsoever. And also, how in fuck's name did Acheron even find the Everflame Mansion if she can't even find her way through a fucking hotel? Well, let me explain what I think went down, based on all the clues so far.
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker!
Starting with how Acheron got to the mansion, I believe it to be thanks to Elio. Sounds strange, but hear me out. Remember the Japella Brotherhood? Yeah, those guys. Well, their fall was thanks to the Stellaron Hunters, as I have previously stated. But have you ever thought about why they caused the rebellion to begin with? Why cause a whole rebellion within a faction of the Annihilation Gang? From all the sources I could gather, they never housed a Stellaron. Well, I believe they did so in order to let the Everflame Mansion rise in strength, so they could be invited to Penacony, and in the process, cross paths with Acheron, so that she can take the invitation instead. I mean, think about it. Half the time Japella is mentioned, they make that offhanded comment about the Everflame Mansion. It makes sense considering how time-sensitive they were.
After today, Japella's name will disappear from cosmic history, and the Everflame Mansion will take its place. In the not-too-distant future, you'll receive an invitation.
As for who figured out Acheron, I believe Ifrit was the one who figured her out. I mean, man's been around the block long enough to at least meet a few emanators in his lifetime, considering he called her out on it. We can rule out Boot Hill because, up till his journey to Penacony, he was busy tailing that living piece of rotting garbage cockling Oswaldo Schneider, and if it were Constance, then she would have had to suffer what Black Swan went through to at least get a glimpse at her true nature. Considering Black Swan got the lights beat out of her, she still couldn't ascertain that she was an emanator, or at the very least couldn't ascertain what path she followed. Moving on. During the aftermath of the bout, Constance and friends return to the mansion to figure out what happened to Ifrit, and learns what he figured out. Only this time, she witnessed what her true path was, as Acheron promised to unveil the truth to Ifrit, showing him and in the process, showing Constance her true path, that being nihility. Now, knowing the fate that befell Ifrit and his last words, Constance and the others got to planning. Clearly, Acheron outmatched them, and she is in a location that they can't reach, as they lack the invite. So if they couldn't go, then maybe they can find someone who will. And so they separated to search for anybody stupid or crazy enough to attack the planet of festivities. They looked and searched until they came across a certain Galaxy Ranger, Boot Hill, who had an impressive rap sheet when it comes to causing havoc for the IPC. So to convince him to go to Penacony, they directly or indirectly informed him of Acheron posing as a Galaxy Ranger. And although Boot Hill was already getting ready to go to Penacony in pursuit of Aventurine, this just gave him another reason, as he will not allow for imposters to roam about causing wickedness. Now, whether they reconvened after or not is unknown, but it seemed as though Constance was able to monitor Acheron's status to a degree via the invitation's memories, kinda like Vetterfolnir did with the Traveler. In Genshin Impact, different game. She later realized someone was prying into the invitation's memories, some of which were deleted, the contents of which and reason for its deletion being unknown. But it was reason enough for Constance to intercept Black Swan. Perhaps seeing an opportunity to garner Acheron more enemies, she chose to reveal her secret via Boot Hill in order to deviate her attention from the still wounded the Children of the Flame. And the rest was history. Or is it? Well, in terms of logical reasoning, yes. Because after this, we start making guesses based on things we don't know anything about. But I'll take a stab at it. Tinfoil hat time yet again. Get ready.
This girl was like, "You're just so down to earth. You're just so human."
I believe one member of the mansion was in the dreamscape, and I'll show you how. Remember when Firefly first died in the dreamscape and we began investigating her death? Let me show you how things played out.
What's going on? Why is it getting hot in the Memoria?
You've noticed it too. Something is burning. They're still smoldering. The culprit can't have gotten far.
Looks like this monster was slain by a thermic weapon.
They're all just burning remembrances. A stark contrast to this deep sea.
Careful. These traces are fresh. Our unsought guest isn't far away.
Looks like this monster died of a hyperthermic reaction.
Something's off. These traces are fresh. Someone just left the scene. Would this person have anything to do with what's happened just now?
I cannot reach a conclusion with so few clues. In the memories of these carcasses, that person was tall and much stronger than an adult male. The method was clean and crisp. All one-strike kills. Maybe a mercenary or an assassin. He entered through the door from the lobby and went farther into the hotel. If that's the case, he should have seen everything that happened here. She seems to be sharing her discovery with someone, and it's related to the watchmaker.
Why did you... This isn't what we agreed on. Mecca. Why? It won't open. It's a dead end.
Based on these fragmented pieces of information, it seems Firefly's companion betrayed her halfway and trapped her alone in this room, disappearing without a trace. But why?
She mentioned that this transaction involves the watchmaker, and that often means stepping on many people's toes. They might have had their eyes on the legacy, or wanted to silence another who knew too much. Or there could be a deeper secret tucked away in this memory zone. And to hook that elusive prize, one needs the right bait.
See, when playing through it the first time, it's shown as though it was Sam who betrayed Firefly. But now we know for a fact that it's not possible, since Sam and Firefly are one and the same. And we're never shown who this mystery person is. Not even when we've reunited with Firefly again does she talk about them, even though this mystery individual is who led Firefly to her death. It's like she forgot. See, I have two explanations for this. The first explanation, being the more likely option, is that it's Gallagher. It checks out when you think about it. He knew the most about dormancy since he made it, and he would know his whereabouts so he could easily guide her towards it. But I find it odd how Gallagher went about it if it was him behind it. I mean, when Sunday asked for answers, he should have sent a Dreamflux reflex, get the fuck out of here. No delineation required. Plus, what Firefly was doing was less of asking for answers, but rather exchanging information. So I find it hard to believe it to be Gallagher. Of course, unless Gallagher asked for like, hey yo, what the script got. I mean, everyone wants to know what the script has. Of course, this can never be entirely proven or disproven because it's fucking Gallagher. You can't trust him. You can't trust his existence. Gallagher, who's that? Your mom. On the other hand, the second option is very much unfounded and is complete conjecture on my part. But I like to point it out nonetheless. What if the culprit is a member of the Annihilation Gang? And I believe it was two who did it. Constance and Dupra. Why? Well, We saw how Constance was still able to interact with Black Swan despite not being present in the room with her and being God knows where, and also being able to manipulate certain events, like the phone call with Boot Hill. So she doesn't have to be present in the dreamscape to know what's happening. So let's say, hypothetically, that Firefly encountered Dubra, and she struck a deal with Firefly to exchange information regarding the Watchmaker's legacy. Reason being that they thought that by uncovering the truth, they might be able to locate Ifrit's consciousness within the Sea of Memoria and bring him back. Now, how she managed to enter the dreamscape without entering Penacony could be similar to how Firefly entered. Only instead of Silverwolf doing whatever the fuck she did, Silverwolf was dead-ass Hacker Man from fucking Kung Fury. Fucking hacking reality. Difference being, it's through Constance. We know Constance has connections to the Remembrance, and she was considered exceptional when Ifrit commented about her. So maybe she stayed in the waking world to guide Dubra into Penacony's dreamscape, and also being able to withdraw her if things got perilous. A fallback that Dubra would agree upon. Now you may be asking, why Dubra? Well, I'm glad you asked. See, I was between Dubra and Akash because, let's be honest, I might be judging a book by its cover here, but I can't see Katarina being sneaky without causing a whole city block to explode. And Constance herself said she won't be attending, so it leaves just two. Of course, she could well be lying, but roll with me, okay? Between Akash and Dubra, I believe it was Dubra due to how cautious she was in the trailer, and Akash seeming a little too gung-ho about that destruction, you know? And although, yes, going by a few lines in a trailer is really not much to go on, you're listening to a Syndrome fan, so get with the fucking program, bro.
Utterly risible.
Plus, it could also explain this scene.
Why?
See, this line always seems strange to me because besides her and Clara, nobody else has a mecha. And yes, back then that was most likely a red herring to make us believe Sam had betrayed her. But then, what did this mean? I think, instead of reading it as Firefly being surprised that Sam betrayed her, what if we think of it more like Firefly being surprised that Sam couldn't activate? And this is where I believe Dubra was actually the one who led Firefly to her death. And since I've already made a fuck ton of stretches in this video, what's one more stretch? Am I right, fellas? Let's go. See, if you look closely at Dubra, you can see that she's being suspended by chains. Now, while we may not know anything about Dubra and her abilities besides her body being lit aflame and having a mastery of the blade, and possibly having a connection to the morning actors, that last part is complete speculation. But what if she managed to disable her SAM activation thingamajig, and before managing to extract more information from her via Constance, she sent Stormancy and made a getaway, but not before purging any memories related to the event from Firefly's mind. And the rest was history. Now, is this theory choppy? Oh yes, most definitely. But since we're returning back to Space China, you know, praise the Space CCP and their great magnificence. I don't think we're gonna get any more information on the Children of the Flame till like next year, you know? Kinda like Dane's Leaf. Hey! After going through all the events and evidence that both favor and punch holes in my theories, can we say that Ifrit is dead? Yeah, he's probably dead, I'm not gonna lie. Thematically speaking, it's a great way to develop the Children of the Flame, as it'll inspire them to think for themselves without Ifrit constantly harping on about destruction to them. Maybe some will renounce the path, others might pursue it till their death, or maybe one of them might gain the gaze that Ifrit sought for his entire life. But on the other hand, there are still so many things left unknown about Ifrit. How did he spawn from the Phase Flame if fire demons were born from the embers of Nanook destroying a star? Why did he take in and raise the Children of the Flame? Although for this one he probably thought that the best way to spread destruction is to spread its belief. Ifrit stated that Penacony was another stop along the pilgrimage of destruction, yet when talking to Acheron, he stated that it'd be his last stop as he's getting old, which contradicts his previous statement. what's his relationship to the Antimatter Legion or the Lord Ravager at that? If he believes so much in Anouk, why didn't he join them? And so on. See, I want Ifrit to be alive, as his character is so interesting to me. A being born from destruction who follows its path as though it were a religion, destroying and pillaging worlds all in the name of his god, in the hopes of receiving his gaze, yet never will because he doesn't understand why his god pursues destruction to begin with. But despite that, like a devout follower, he continues his work without hesitation, and clearly, there's more to him than just destruction, as he taught Akash how to play the violin, Dubra how to master the blade. And she uses a big-ass sax, so all the more reason I want to be alive. I love Scythe Rulers. I love Arlecchino. I love Dad. Maybe his character will be expanded in the backstory of the Children of the Flame. As long as I can get to know more about him and who he was as a person, demon, living being. Let's go with that. As long as I can get to know more about who he was as a living being, I'll be content with that. But I'll bet a quarter of a breadcrumb of unknown moldage that Ifrit is still alive.
The gods of the starry skies have abandoned the world. They give no thought to the masses. Only the wounded savior can bathe the world in the firelight of destruction. Yet always there are cowards trying in vain to reject their favor and escape the wounds. Flee then. Flee as far as you can. No matter the distance, annihilation will find you.